watch Andrew Tate a lot, but I've seen him about like 80 to 100 times.
100 or more.
68 videos.
Somewhere around 80 to 100.
About 87 videos of Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate has a huge impact on what teenagers think now because he is so influential.
Like, everyone wants to be like him, like rich guy, Bugatti, all that, like, rich lifestyle.
And he's very positive about how to be successful, go to the gym, get a good mentality.
There are some good things about what he says, but the things that he says about women, I do not agree with.
About 50% of men want to have those kind of relationships that he has. But personally, that kind of relationships that he is saying, I don't want to have.
I'm influenced by Andrew Tate because I see him and I see any toxic masculinity that is shared, and I process that and I look back, and it's more of like a self-reflection thing. Just like, have I acted like that? Do I need to change that?
If I was married, I'd say jobs and like taking care of the kids would go both ways.
I would love to spend time with my kids and take care of them.
I don't really mind who it has the job or who is taking care of the kids as long as the kids are happy and healthy.
It doesn't really matter who makes more money. It's not like it's a competition.
Genetically, men are stronger.
I don't think we give women enough credit for how strong they are because men don't ever have to give birth. I don't know how much strength it takes to do that because also enduring pain takes a lot of strength.
Women are way smarter than men because we men do a lot of more stupid stuff.
Men make very dumb decisions. Like if a woman was a leader of a country or something, I don't think it would end up in a war. Social media influences teenagers very easily because I feel like teenagers are still like very clueless.
If an influencer is promoting toxic masculinity and that influences me, I'm gonna share with my parents what I've learned from this guy. My parents overall have the most influence over me.
We should share with our parents what we watch, but I feel like we should also be responsible enough to like be able to tell ourselves if this is accurate, if we should believe this or if we should follow this.
I wasn't familiar with Andrew Tate, so this kind of just brought to light how much my child had heard, which is a little bit alarming.
I did not know my boys were watching Andrew Tate. At some point I was like, I have to be a little better mom. I think I have to work on some areas.
Listening to all the kids, I felt like the progress that we're making is good.
All of these kids are really deep thinkers, and they seem like they're gonna not take what Andrew Tate says to heart, which really makes me feel good about our generation of kids. I feel like we're doing something right with this generation.
Heather's 13-year-old son, Zach, participated in our focus group, and we heard from you just a minute ago. So, Mom, what's your takeaway from this whole thing?
I, too, didn't know who Andrew Tate was until asked about it. And I have I have 4 kids from age 25 to 9. I did have 2 of them when I was 38 and 42, so I'm not sure about this prime thing. But I was shocked. I was shocked that the things he was saying were so easily heard by so many people. And I think it's really interesting that I immediately got the feeling like he was taking information he may have learned from people that seem a little more intelligent than he is and made it into an algorithm where kids were just going to get fed and fed and fed. And it scared me to death. I have 3 boys, and it made me very nervous until I heard Zach talk. Then I felt my heart rate came back down.
Zach, is it true that you evaluate and really think through what you're hearing?
Of course. I don't take one thing, listen to it, process it, and then just spread it around. That's exactly how like gossip and bad news gets spread. I'm gonna check multiple sources, and they're not all gonna be the same. I'm not gonna check 3 Andrew Tate videos that say the same thing in different words so I can come up with my own opinion. I'm gonna check news channels with different points of views and see what the common idea is, and then I'm gonna go to my own morality. I'll ask myself the questions, and I figure it out from there.
What sort of content along those lines would you, as a young guy, want to see?
Well, I'd say a male masculine figure that I definitely look up to is Hugh Jackman. He's played Wolverine, a very masculine superhero, but then he's also been on Broadway. He was in Music Man. And I wouldn't say that theater is a typically masculine hobby of sorts. So he's got two different sides and he uses them both very powerfully. And on social media, I want to see more things that I enjoy, less opinions. Like, I'm a skateboarder. I like to see skate videos and like tutorials and just fun things that aren't so based on identity, say, but just like what I like to do as a human instead of a person.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, my personal view on masculinity and femininity is that they're just part of who you are. They don't entirely define who you are. Like, men can enjoy traditionally feminine things, women can enjoy traditionally masculine things. We can appreciate our gender roles for what they are, but we don't have to limit ourselves to them. Like, I'm a masculine guy. I like being strong. I like going to the gym. I take responsibility for my feelings. I like approaching girls, but at the same time, like, that's not all of who I am.
Yeah, what do you want to say?
Yeah, first of all, thank God for you, Zach, and for Mom. And these young men that are able to think, they're able to discern, they're able to say, look, there's some good stuff here, take the misogyny out. So let's give them some credit. Let's not panic. Like, as I said, I've raised three boys.
Where are
let's
the
not
dads?
panic.
Nobody in this
Well-
room is saying, like,
Well, we're here.
no, you are here, but what about these 17 or 30 million children growing up without dads? These poor kids
Right.
are looking to social media to learn about masculinity
That's
because
right.
their dads are
Right.
absent from their homes.
But that's right.
You guys
find
are in
other
your homes.
Find other dads, find other
No,
but
get
mums
their
can also
dads
talk
in the
to them.
home.
Well,
That's what they're
Get
doing
in their lives,
online.
in
right
their
now.
lives.
and he's an awesome
Completely
kid.
agree.
What rights don't you have?
We don't have reproductive rights.
You
we
have
don't have
reproductive rights.
not everywhere. We don't have equal pay.
You do have equal pay. It's
We do
you
not
just
have equal
to look-
pay. No.
You do have
I
equal
actually
pay.
did a Google search
Yes.
yesterday because I was looking at what career path I want to go down for permanence of that. And
I know that's a big canard right now. 77 cents. What is it? 80 cents. Where are we at? How do they keep
82.
moving the slider there?
anyway, I used a CEO as an example, and CEOs make a lot of money, but just as an example,
That's
even
called the apex fallacy, my dear. When you're looking at the CEOs at the very top of the pyramid and you're not looking at the vast majority of men who are at the bottom of the pyramid, and
listened
that
to
is
you
your
speak,
standard,
so
that's
if you
what's
could
known
listen to
as
me
the
speak, that
apex
would be nice. Thank
fallacy.
you.
There's a pay gap all the way
Um,
down there. The pay gap
Yeah,
applies all the way
her
down.
name
Depending
is
on what
her
the-
name is Alicia, not my dear.
Oh, sorry.
And what she's saying is true. There is a difference in pay, and you're
Because
all
women
about.
choose different career paths. I think you know
Well,
this already.
that's why I brought the CEOs in the example. Women CEOs per week make, and this was an average that I saw online, $562 less per week than a male CEO on average. That's like the highest you could get.
How many CEOs are there when
The main
male
reason
or
for the pay
female?
gap now is that women take more time out to care for children. Whether that's a choice or not is the real question, but it's mostly a parenting gap. And men who take time out to care for children, like I did, also see a decline in their earnings. So it's the way we divide up
It's
the
the
child
math
care
problem that you're looking
that is
at.
driving it. But the question then is like, well, why is that? And why do we make it so hard for parents, whether it's fathers or mothers, to combine raising kids with pursuing a career? That's the real conversation we should be having, rather than this made-up gender war that we're currently stuck
And
in.
why is it so hard for men to be in their children's lives? I mean, that's what I go back to. Like, we have active fathers in the room talking about it, but I suspect that the big issue is that we have 17 to 30 million children growing up without fathers. 40% of children are born out of wedlock today, and those kids, typically 2 out of 5 children do not have a father in their home. Who should teach masculinity? Your dad. And then extra
I
men.
agree that
But-
fatherhood is actually should be
Fatherhood
the
is
center of this conversation.
superfluous right now. Men are superfluous right now. You will hear women say, I don't need a man, but I want a man. It's no longer about need.
Sorry,
It's
who
no-
says fatherhood's superfluous?
Every last person I have ever done
Should we do a
an
poll?
interview with. Okay, here's the thing.
No,
Then
wait a
why are
minute.
we-
You said every person you've ever interviewed said fatherhood is
No,
superfluous?
what I meant is that every person, every woman that I have ever interviewed, and depending on whatever the show is that they express a pretty much the same thing verbatim, which is, I don't need a man, but I want a man. The reason why they don't need a man is because they have gotten to the point right now where we have put women into the workplace, we put women into major universities right now. We have essentially taken the side of women's mating strategy where they need a man who can provide, protect, and provision. And we said, ladies, men are bums. Men are either abusive or they are Homer Simpson. They're that buffoon stereotype that we see in all the in sitcoms, or they're incompetent right now.
What are you talking about?
Do you want to be needed, though? But do you
see,
want to be
what are you-
needed
what
or
are you
want
talking
it?
about?
That's the dynamic that I'm talking about right now. Is you've got women who are looking for men who are economically attractive, correct?
No.
Imran, you've been listening to a lot of this patiently. I want to hear from you.
I think it's really hard to raise children. It's really hard to give them the values that you want, to give them the resilience that they need to get through a life in which there will be lots of people giving them bad information and bad ideas. And I think today's really clarified for a lot of the parents who'll be watching, who do they want to influence their kids? Well, first of all, I think raising kids is a parent's job, and parents need to take an active role in it. You saw Zach earlier on, and it's clear that he's been given strong values, so he's got some of that resilience. But he's coming up into years in which he'll be much more influenced, not just by his parents, but by people around him, and by algorithms which are feeding him information. And they need to be really cognizant. Parents need to think really hard about who's winning in those algorithms, because the truth is, all those positive voices about masculinity, about fatherhood, about being a good adult, about having self-worth, they're not being fed to young people. Voices like Rollo's are, like Andrew Tate's. And what they're teaching them is that the system is gamed against them. They're never going to win. And so they need to take an aggressive stance themselves. And that's fundamentally dangerous, because no one wins a zero-sum game where men are pitted against women.
I'm going to have the last word here because we're out of time. Look, it's different strokes for different folks. And if you have had that impact on people and help save lives, God bless you. And I'm glad that you've had that effect on some people. And I mean that sincerely. I'm glad you've had that effect on some people. I worry about the effect you may have had on other people, but I'm glad you've had that effect on some people. And I really hate that you live with the belief that you just have that you have to be needed to have meaning. Superfluous to me means meaningless, that you're not essential. And I would hate to think that I was in a marriage for 46 years only because she needed me. That would be terrible. I'm glad that I'm still around because she wants me around, not because she needs me around. You know, one of my definitions of masculinity, I'll share with you, and I've saved it till the end of this. I measure my success as a man as how I've taken care of, guided, and protected my family. And that meant my mother before she passed, and my wife and my children, and by extension, their children. Have I provided a path in life for them to become educated and self-sufficient, and that when I leave this world, I can leave knowing that I've contributed in a way that they're going to be okay when I'm gone. And once I knew that, and I do know that she will be fine and that my boys will be fine. And Robin has had a huge role in that, in teaching them how to treat women and teaching them how to be parents and all that. Once that's done, then okay, I know that I'll leave this world having done my job. To me, that's the definition of being a man. And it's an ongoing process, but if I die before the end of this sentence, I'll leave with a peace of knowing that I've achieved that goal with my family. And that's my definition of masculinity and being a man. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.